we are off and underway. Here comes the chase behind. It's a steep climb. This is a good move now. Can he try and hang on? Lines up for the sprint. Can he steal this one? Is he going to take the stage? Yes, he is.
Hello and welcome. Guess where we are? Yes, indeed, in the shadow of the Angel of the North, just outside Gateshead, where today's Stage 6 from Carlisle is going to finish. It's going to be another fascinating one. Big climbs ahead because the competition between Ethan Hayter and Wout van Aert on GC is, well, massive. Once the flag dropped, it was Ribble Weltite's aero guru Dan Bigham who was most animated in developing the breakaway, hunched over his noticeably narrow bars. Four joined him: Nicholas Sikowski from Rally, St Piran's Leon Mazzoni, Chris Bevins of Trinity Racing, and, yes, that man again, Jacob Scott from Canyon DHB Sungod. He left nothing to chance in the pursuit of sprint and KOM points, making sure he'd have the Iceberg and Skoda jerseys into day 6. It did look highly unlikely that the breakaway would stay away, with De Koning Quickstep once more sensing a possible sprint victory for Mark Cavendish. Ethan Hayter's Ineos Grenadiers had the same idea, but they left it quite late to catch the last few escapees. After a few dry, warm days, a light downpour would make the run into Warrington pretty slippery. On the final sharp left-hander into the finishing straight, Ineos Grenadiers' Owain Doull slid out. The hold-up prevented Wout van Aert from defending his GC lead, leaving fast men like Cav, Hayter, McLean, Nizzolo and Alaphilippe in a drag race for the line.
Hayter opens up his sprint, Cavendish on his wheel, Nizzolo threatening, Cavendish just blocked there as Hayter takes the line, moves to the front, Ethan Hayter takes the win, takes the jersey, it's perfect for Ethan Hayter.
So the AJ Bell leader's jersey switches again from Wout van Aert to Ethan Hayter, very much holding his own in the company of the all-rounders, with 2018 overall winner Julien Alaphilippe still in the mix. Worth mentioning as well DSM's young Brit Mark Donovan, who's also rubbing shoulders with more experienced racers. Al will be back in his home county of Cumbria on Stage 6. This year's Tour of Britain is only taking place because of the extraordinary advances in medical research. Alderley Park is at the forefront of that, and we managed to catch up with Dr. Kath McKay at the start of Stage 5.
Alderley Park is the UK's largest life science campus. It's research into diseases and healthcare, creating and producing new diagnostic tests. So we're very excited that medicines of the future are going to be discovered and developed here. Next door, we've also got about half a dozen schools who've come to learn more about cycling. There's some scientific workshops that are going on in Glasshouse behind us. They're finding out about active transport, finding out about cycling and engineering. So we're really fortunate to have them here.
With me, as ever, former Tour of Britain winner and former British national champion Pippa York. And once more, Ethan Hayter continues to impress, even on a sketchy finish like the one into Warrington.
He does. He showed a lot of skill to stay up when his teammate went down. And from there, he showed another impressive sprint to win in front of so many stars.
We know Mark Cavendish was held up by the crash that took down Owain Doull, but it was a straight drag race for the line between Ethan Hayter and Giacomo Nizzolo, and to beat him is impressive.
It is. Former European champion. Fantastic sprint. You know, Nizzolo came up to him and never came past.
Of course, at the sharp end of the race, we're looking at the big teams, Ineos Grenadiers and Jumbo-Vismas of this world, but also in the peloton, animating this year's race, are the likes of Global 6 Cycling. Fascinating team, who only started last year, having been founded by their 22-year-old racer, James Mitry.
Okay, today is a hard day. All the day it's sure rainy, very rainy, and all the day. And the finish, very, very rainy.
I've been a rider now in the pro ranks for the last 4 years. I wanted to do something different, you know, help a lot of guys. Our philosophy of wanting to help people from any background. And the philosophy is where you start shouldn't decide where you finish. So wherever the people are in the world, we want to find them and and give them the best chance to enable their talents.
Try to break away Hans and Nico that is very difficult, but try to fight for the King of Mountain. The fit zone are your uncle at the kilometer 65 with bottles.
Whoa, me and the bottles, better stay away from them.
The other fit zone in the last climb at the top, 7 with feedbacks.
Indeed, after the climb and the day was on the breakaway, I went on the top of the climb to take a bottle from the Saunier, and then I miss it right at the moment I was going to catch it. When you come on the limit, we guys, we also human, so we are also like that at the end of the climbs.
It's not been easy, as no business is the first year. This is a business.
It's very important for the team. Good luck, guys.
But it's given me a lot of positive energy. Seeing the guys develop, grow, helping young guys. That's been what's, I guess, kept me through the hard times. To be here now, it's like a gift for all the hard work.
Pippa, I really appreciate the ethos of Global 6, giving people from different backgrounds the chance. And we've seen them animate the race. Sessler has been in the breakaway a couple of times this week already. It's good to see.
It is good to see, and it emphasises the fact that cycling is for everybody, all shapes and sizes. And yeah, it's really good that they've come with that ethos.
Same with the Team GB lads. They always put up a team of what their DS Matt Bramier called a bunch of mongrels, which is a bit unfair because they're really talented. They're really holding their own against the big names.
I think there's a few people watching this who'd be quite happy to be a mongrel at that level. I certainly would.
Yeah, they've been really good this week. Difficult day awaits them again today, 198 kilometres across the Pennines. On leaving Carlisle on stage 6, there are 2 sprints at Motherby and then in Penrith before the peloton heads across the Pennines and the start of the climbing. There are 3 Category 1 Skoda King of the Mountains at Hartside, Kilhope Cross and Bertree Fell as the teams head across the country. For those that are left, there is the final sprint at Prudhoe and the finish underneath the iconic Angel of the North. Stage 6 will depart from under the shadow of Carlisle's landmark castle, which has looked over the city's citizens for more than 9 centuries. Also within sight is the magnificent cathedral, which dates back to 1122. Gateshead is connected to Newcastle by 7 bridges. It's now known for its modern architecture, with the Sage Gateshead and the Baltic Centre for Contemporary Arts both fine examples. Also within sight is the Angel of the North. It is another pretty hilly one. They've all been hilly. Yesterday, yes, finished as a sort of bunch sprint into Warrington, but that had a fair bit of climbing in it, and today, even more so. Even more climbing, and I think we'll see the 3 stars that have emerged from this. Ethan Hayter, Julian Alaphilippe, Wout van Aert. Take your pick of which one it's going to be. Van Aert, interestingly though, is down to just a team of 4, with Tony Martin not starting yesterday's stage, the German time trial legend having headed away, perhaps to prepare for the World. So that's going to make life even more difficult for Van Aert. It is. They're probably going to rely on the Koenig Quick Step to control things more because they don't have the resources any longer to take on that role. Hey, we've seen that. They've just been hovering near the back, haven't they? It has been De Koenig trying to control things, but it's not easy with a team of 6 if you've got all the riders at your disposal. No, so out of those 6 riders, you've got one rider who's fully protected. So for today, that will be Julian Alaphilippe. And yeah, but it's not that. It's not what they're used to. They don't have the manpower to control a race which is so chaotic as this. Let's hear from some of the riders now.
Yeah, feeling good actually. Ready for my home stage. So it'd be nice to see some friends and family out on the course. I reckon it'll be pretty hard pace all day, and the climbs in the middle will be pretty tough. But I think it'll probably wait to kick off until just near the end, and then I think there might be some fireworks today.
Tactically, I think that means the start's really important. We need to make sure we have control, so not too big a group. Ideally, no one from De Koenig, but even if there was someone, it cannot be the worst. It just depends who it is. So guys who are close on GC, we don't really want to let go in the breakaway.
I'm absolutely enjoying it. I mean,
The weather has actually been good. The racing has been good. I think we can expect more hard racing and more aggressive racing in the next couple of days. But so far so good, eh?
If there's only one dead cert today, is that the riders will know from kilometres away as they approach from the west exactly where today's finish is. Let's get straight to our commentary team now of Adam Blythe and Ned Bolting.
Thank you very much, Matt. Here we are at the start line in Carlisle. It's another long one today, 198 kilometres from Carlisle to Gateshead, featuring over 3,000 metres of climbing once again. Climbing doesn't begin straight away, although it is, once the flag drops on the outskirts of Carlisle as they head out in a southerly direction, it is, broadly speaking, uphill in a kind of loose sense, which is going to make it interesting in terms of the move that might get underway today. And there's just a suspicion, given that it's a long, quite hard course today with these big climbs in the middle of the race, that it could be a day where a group actually gets the freedom of the road and we have two races today.
Yeah, I think so, and I'm hoping today with that big roaring tailwind we might see some attacks, but as we said, it is very hard to look past Wout van Aert and Ethan Hayter.
Carlisle Castle, just overlooking the peloton. Quite a reduced peloton now with the numbers of riders. Another rider who didn't start yesterday and took us a while to cotton on, didn't it?
Yeah,
that he hadn't started the race. Tony Martin. We understand that Tony Martin's absence on the race is almost entirely explained by the slowness of the recovery from those series of injuries that knocked him out of the Tour de France, and perhaps we underestimated the severity of those crashes. And Tony, I think, just feeling his way back to form and hoping that the form returns in time for a tilt at the World Time Trial Championship in a couple of weeks' time. Tour of Britain, though, making strong case for the continuing enthusiasm for road racing in this country as the peloton continues to snake its way through Carlisle in a southerly direction. A few kilometres left before the flag drops and the attacks, no doubt, will begin. Do not go away.
The start of Stage 6 produced some of the hardest racing yet seen at this year's Tour of Britain. Attack after attack was brought back by the peloton. The World Tour teams making it so hard for everybody. Movistar, Quick-Step and Jumbo-Visma all going off the front, with the Ineos Grenadiers and Canyon marshalling all the moves. Finally, the elastic did snap and 9 riders got clear, including the Manx missile, a real collector's item, seeing Mark Cavendish in a breakaway. Ethan Hayter and Wout van Aert at the top of GC decided enough was enough, and they sat up. Rory Townsend of Canyon DHB Sungob was allowed to take the sprint points for his teammate Jacob Scott at Motherby, conspicuously absent from the breakaway today. Local rider Mark Donovan of Team DSM was part of the break, but was just too high on the general classification to allow the gap to get too big. And so De Koning Quick-Step's tractor, Tim de Klerk, made sure he was dropped from the breakaway. 9 became 7 as they rode through Donovan's hometown of Penrith and the second iceberg sprint. So as we rejoin Adam and Ned, the Magnificent Seven are beginning to cross the Pennines, with the first climb at Hartside approaching.
Steeper here. Cavendish out of the saddle and pushing on.
Yeah, looks like just moving into a little bit of a tailwind, so being able to increase the speed ever so slightly. It's always nice when you get a bit of wind on your back rather than in your face.
Well, all of them, I'm sure, have their smartphones up here if there's any mobile phone reception. Or they'll have got wind that Cavendish is in the breakaway. They'll have probably had their breakfast and gone out to watch the race today, hoping to snatch a little glimpse of him in the peloton, but instead, there he is, present in a very, very rare breakaway role at the Tour of Britain. And what a treat it is for the people who've made their way to the top of the climb to see Mark Cavendish get to the top in the company of these 6 other riders.
3:32 for the peloton as well now. So Ineos just bringing it back ever so slightly, ever so slowly. Just making sure George Bennett there stays around that 3-minute marker. They don't want him to be right up there, although I think with a bonus second, George, it's fair to say, isn't going to be collecting many at the finish. I think he might be, but Rory Townsend there just on the left-hand side, moving up to take the points.
For Jake Scott.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that it's all under control for Jake Scott, his teammate, and Rory Townsend just negating the maximum points should anyone else over the coming stages threaten that jersey. But Jake Scott's lead is handsome, and he will effectively almost have won it by the end of the day. Over the top of the climb then, Rory Townsend, they understand that. The points on the road today are of no relevance whatsoever to this 7-man group, because they think that the winner of the stage might well come from this selection. Sessler moving up, Jake Scott with him. Watch them on the left-hand side of the road.
Yeah, Jake Scott will take that comfortably. I think it's quite a long way to the top. You can see Jake Scott just sat in the saddle, not under too much pressure. I think he'll just nip past him at the line. We've seen his devastating sprint so far throughout this Tour of Britain. He's
really comfortable, doesn't he? It's a problem.
Sessler's just sat down and gone, he's still here.
So attentive, Jake Scott.
Rowan Dennis just bringing him back. Rowan Dull, sorry.
Here they go. Jake Scott almost just waiting to pick him off. The Brazilian now. Jake Scott just comfortably comes past him. There's almost like no resistance there, and Sessler's just going to have to settle for the fact that he's only going to pick up 2 points. And actually, Jake Scott extends his lead in the King of the Mountains competition by picking up 3 more points.
And having an easier time of it, being in the peloton for the first time this race.
3 more points, that puts him into 60. Nicholas Sessler is on 27 now. The gap between the two of them is 33 points. If they repeat that at the next climb, the gap will be 34 points. And at the end of today, there are only 34 points remaining in the bike race. So if that pattern repeats itself over the next climb and then the next climb after that, there are 2 more climbs to come, that is it. Jake Scott has won the King of the Mountains. This is the order over the line. All of these points are irrelevant, save for rider number 8, Jake Scott, who picked up 3 points there. He adds those to his tally. He's on 60 points overall in the standings. Nicholas Sessler picked up 2. He's now on 27 points. There's 33 points separating those 2 riders. There are 20 more points available on today's stage, though effectively there are 6 points available for Jake Scott, or indeed Nicholas Sessler. The 7 riders all still together though, and the American Colin Joyce setting a nice pace. Tim de Klerk there does get over these climbs in incredibly good fashion. Mark Cavendish fully committed to this breakaway, and leaving Nenthead behind them then, and the peloton there also heading for Kilhope Cross, highest paved pass in England, jointly with Harthorpe Moss apparently. Takes its name, Kilhope Cross, from a Grade 2 listed medieval boundary cross at the highest point of the pass. And when these riders get there, we might see that boundary cross very soon coming out of the gloom.
It is quite interesting, isn't it, that the climbs within the UK, do you know how high that climb is there, Ned, roughly?
Oh, I guess 350 metres, something like that.
Which is incredible, isn't it, when you think about the world's tallest building is almost 3 times higher. And when you get to these climbs, you think, wow, I can see so far, and the views are unbelievable. How...
Still takes a bit of getting up, though, doesn't it, on a push bike?
Oh, yeah, definitely. But it's incredible that if you could stack 3 of these climbs technically on top of each other, it still wouldn't be roughly alongside the tallest building in the world.
I remember one of the first times I went to, I think it was the Galibier, and did a bit of recording there for our Tour de France coverage. Adam, I said, so just to put this in context, what I'm sitting on top of here, this paved road, is like Ben Nevis with Ben Nevis on top of that and half of Ben Nevis again.
It's so true, though, even though they're awfully hard to ride up and very, very difficult indeed. It's compared to the climbs in Europe, they're not high at all, but equally...
This is tough.
Just as hard, yeah. And you can see how tough it is. You know, these riders, although Mark, you can see him, you know, looking like he's trying hard at the minute. He'll have plenty in the tank. He's just trying to do as minimum as possible and minimise his efforts, basically. And by doing so, it's Tim de Klerk just backing off ever so slightly. You can see the rider on the front there just taking it very, very rushly. And Mark Cavendish, look, just letting the wheel go ever so slightly. He doesn't want to try too hard. Tim de Klerk will be aware of that. Back off. Mark Cavendish will get the other riders to come through.
Well, the 7 riders of the breakaway just split into 2 little groups now as Tim de Klerk and Jimmy Janssen, in the company of Rory Townsend, push on a little bit. Colin Joyce, Dan McClay, George Bennett, interestingly, who's probably still breathing through his nose on this climb, head towards the top of the Kilhope Cross Pass. It's the highest paved pass in England, joining the Weardale to the east and Cumbria to the west. Now George Bennett is just leaving them behind. Cavendish is dropping away now.
Yeah, that is interesting. I think that dynamic changes a little bit within the group there. Rory Townsend still pushing on. Mark Cavendish just coming back into shot now. Dan McLeod just in front of him. So these climbs, that shows, Ned, even though we were talking about how, you know, in terms of altitude, not too high, but equally awfully hard.
Cavendish just looking for the white line there, isn't he? Just a little bit of smoother road on the edge. He's all right, he's fine. He's just getting back on now as the road flattens out ever so slightly towards the top.
Yeah.
So no big drama there for Mark Cavendish.
Yeah, he will just signal. Rory Townsend. Yeah, you can see Cavendish on the drops. He'll just get his way back onto that signal to probably Tim on the radio and just, yeah, you see, just rolling on the back. But this shows how hard it is, and sometimes within the breakaway, when you see all the riders within there, but the breakaways, even though they've been cruising along, you've still got Ineos Grenadiers riding hard.
Still a bit of climbing to go. Steep section here. Once these riders have had their little battle, these two in green, they will drop back again and disappear somewhat from view. And every time there is a climb, they just come to the fore. And the Ineos Grenadiers and the other big teams won't be too bothered. Come on, Jack Scott's getting a lead out this time.
Is he, though? He's wanting to get on the wheel there, but Kessler was saying, no, you do it. I'm going to come and go from behind this time, try and surprise you. But Jake Scott realising that, and look, as soon as he puts that kick down, done dusted, and his teammate
just making sure that Sessler doesn't get anything,
yeah,
or gets 1 point rather than 2. So that's kind of like really hammering the point home, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly that.
Little fist bump, that worked. Sessler just gets 1 point.
Brilliant. Well done, Jake Scott.
Very clever tactics by Canyon and good riding by Jake Scott. Jake Scott getting 3 points. Nicholas Sessler just picking up 1 mean that Jake Scott has a 35-point lead in the competition. There are 34 points available tomorrow, but there are still points available on this final climb. Mathematically, to keep the competition alive, Sessler will need to get to the top before Jake Scott. That 1-2 by Canyon DHB Sun God almost sealed the deal. It was a very good move. We'll be back in just a minute or two. Do not go away.
Welcome back to the fascinating Stage 6 of this year's AJ Bell Tour of Britain. The 7-man breakaway crested the last Cat 1 climb at Bertree Fell, still well clear of the peloton. Jake Scott of Canyon DHB Sun God confirmed the Skoda King of the Mountains competition win as long as he stayed upright into Aberdeen. Movistar's Brit Gabs Kaleig was then sent to the front in the pouring rain to reel them back in. He was joined by another Brit, Israel Startup Nation's Alex Dowsett, as they headed through Hexham. Rory Townsend collected the Iceberg sprint points in Prudhoe, and as we rejoin Adam and Ned, it's cat and mouse within the breakaway and in the peloton.
Cavendish attacks. Mark Cavendish, 17 kilometres to go. Off on the right-hand side of the road. Mark Cavendish attacks. It's a soft attack, isn't it, though? Not totally committed there.
Yeah, aiding Tim de Klerk, the man on the back, to have a little... I know he's not having a rest because he's accelerating, but just pushing on and letting Tim de Klerk have a few seconds and ultimately making it hard for a little bit and then giving Tim de Klerk a launch pad to then attack. You can just see Cavendish not quite closed him yet and just pushing on, aware of it, always looking over his shoulder, stretching the riders out. Now sits up a little bit. The other riders sit up with him. 30 seconds now back to the peloton, and this will be a point now. De Klerk has to go, but you can see him now, the body language.
Watch de Klerk, here he goes on the right-hand side of the road. That was very, very signalled if you were looking at the back of that little group, and de Klerk is the latest quick-step rider to attack.
Yep, just left a little bit too late there, wasn't it, with Tim de Klerk just waiting a little bit too long to attack Rory Townsend, seeing it coming, getting on his drops of the handlebars, getting ready to go, and now Cavendish won't attack again.
No.
He can't attack again. If he wants to sprint, if they get down to a sprint, he needs to save his legs, but George Bennett now straight on the attack, so this is the cat and mouse now between it.
This is great to watch, though, isn't it? Cavendish now on the wheel of Jimmy Janssens from Alpecin Fenix as that group just splits into two and then reforms. Colin Joyce bringing the other two riders back.
And de Klerk, Cavendish now might be aware that it might not come back to a sprint. So now what do I need to do? I need to go on the attack. I need to make it hard. They're expecting me to attack. So as you see him go again, we talked about Cavendish in this situation. Although not a climber, these short, sharp, punchy climbs are better for Mark than the longer climbs. Janssens now sort of ramping it up back again. De Klerk sat on the back. Cavendish will no doubt have a little word with him if he can.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of a chat, try and go again.
Oh, this is great. The Deceuninck Quick-Step and Mark Cavendish and Tim de Klerk have turned this finale into a little Belgian semi-classic, haven't they?
Yeah.
That's what we're watching now.
15k to go, 23 seconds. See Wout van Aert right towards the front.
Oh yeah, that's ominous.
Yeah. Will they try something together though? Will two of them go on the attack? Two Jumbo-Visma riders
Julien
try and
Alaphilippe.
launch something.
Sorry, Adam. Julien Alaphilippe just monitoring where Wout van Aert is. You can see the world champion. But Wout van Aert now being moved ever closer to the front. Alaphilippe right on his wheel. Ineos Grenadiers have Ethan Hayter just on the right-hand side of the road. No more feeding now. That's no longer allowed in the final 20 kilometres.
Sorry, for some reason I thought there might be a sprint point coming up, but that's just an absolute ridiculous thought that I just had through my head. I apologise.
Don't worry. A hallucination on the road from Adam Blythe. And it stalls a little bit, and that's the problem when they start to attack each other like this. You get these moments where everybody freewheels and the time gap will come down fast because the peloton is riding tempo, very fast tempo.
Looking to be like they're descending down, so they'll probably go up again. After this, George Bennett, another place to attack. Tim de Klerk, let's not forget, right on the back of things, so the perfect place to attack when you can run at them with a little bit of speed, catch a few people off guard. But Cavendish, the riders come out of that exact same corner in the same camera shot now, just on the right-hand screen, the breakaway behind them, the peloton. So looks to be curtains for this breakaway unless we get something special from one of these riders.
Joyce moving to the front. Tim de Klerk possibly in that last throw situation where if he's got the legs he might launch one last attack. Likewise George Bennett. But the roads, I think you're spot on, Adam, they're just not hard enough, the climbs aren't long enough, they're too wide, the gradient's too forgiving. It's very difficult to make the difference here, and there's too much intent from behind in the peloton.
Yeah, there is indeed. I'm sure we'll see one more attack. I think Tim de Klerk quite hasn't got the legs, but maybe with one last hero attack from one of these riders to try and escape off the front for a little bit longer.
8 seconds coming down, and it's all, the catch is almost there now.
Yeah.
There it is. Almost impossible now, and they are going to be caught imminently. And Deceuninck Quick-Step now massing towards the front. Yes, they've got two riders at the front of the race, but they know this is coming back together again, so they're going to flip their tactics, and let's see what Yves Lampaert might be able to do. Or
Tim de Klerk does carry on still, and one of the Ribble Well type riders from the back looks to be James Shaw attacking, so taking his opportunity. Tim de Klerk just going off the front still. The peloton.
Jorgensen as well from Movistar going after them. Jorgensen, de Klerk can't do any more. James Shaw, good attack from Shaw and a good moment to choose potentially.
Yeah, I think if that Jorgensen can get across to him, two is obviously better on than one. Strength in numbers. It's a nice little attack there by James Shaw. We mentioned him at the start of the day, maybe trying to get in that breakaway that looks so difficult to be in, so missing it and then trying to do something else. But you can just see how that peloton is being made a lot smaller now. And now Ineos Grenadiers, bunch sprint. Inevitable. They've got on the front trying to control things.
Good move, and the second successive day that in the final phase of racing, Ribble Well Tight, managed by Colin Sturgis, have had a rider holding off the chase. Yesterday it was Dan Bigham in the company of two others. Today it's James Shaw, their GC leader, with Matteo Jorgensen. The second big day of attacking we've seen from him. Don't forget his attack on the Marine Drive climb of Great Orme into Llandudno that eventually was reeled in before the Great Orme climb.
Yeah, just see there right in the centre of the screen at the back. Alaphilippe, yeah.
Alaphilippe on the front. Alex Peters, he's fallen today. Ben Healy starting to struggle, which is slightly surprising, the Irish national champion from Trinity Racing.
I think that is not a surprise, really, when you look how hard it's been. Surprising in terms of what he's been doing, but Van Aert now on the attack.
I was going to say, Van Aert has attacked. Van Aert going clear, the Belgian then. You can just pick him out, that famous jersey, just disappearing now under the foliage from the trees. But look back down the road. This is trouble for the race. This is trouble for the Ineos Grenadiers. Look at him effortlessly. Van Aert gets to Jorgensen and Shaw. Van Aert will not wait. He'll find room on the right and he'll go past them. Look at that. Yeah, Michael Woods going with him. Where's Julien Alaphilippe? There he is. He just knew he was going to be there. Yeah. Where's Hayter, though? Where is that blue jersey? The dark blue jersey. Now, again, riding a controlled defensive race here.
But different scenario this time. And don't forget, Alaphilippe here is in a good situation. He has a teammate with him. You've got one Ineos Grenadiers rider there, just with James Shaw just in front of him. But let's not forget these riders in the front. You've got Wout van Aert going over the top. So it's not a slight gradual climb now. It is ever so slightly. But going up, if Ethan Hayter can't quite get on terms with this, when they drop down ever so slightly, strength in numbers at the front, they'll be a little bit quicker. Dan Martin, Rusty Woods, they'll work together. And you see Alaphilippe straight on the burners again.
Alaphilippe's got a teammate here, Mikel Honoré. Remember how strong he was on the Great Orme climb as well. And that's fantastic from De Koning Quickstep. Once more, De Koning Quickstep have got 2 riders at the front end of the race. Dan Martin, though, and Michael Woods, they're both there. Wout van Aert looks round to see where the blue jersey is. Ethan Hayter on the back foot now.
Yeah, and Wout van Aert and Alaphilippe will work together now. They'll work hard together. And I'm sure Michael Woods now missing a turn there, so not pulling on the front. And why? You've gone in the front of the breakaway. You're not going to beat them in sprint. You can move up in GC, ride.
Oscar Rodriguez is the last remaining Ineos Grenadier in this group, and he's got a real responsibility, which he lives up to, the young Spaniard. That's a great ride from him, to ride Ethan Hayter across almost to this absolutely elite group, this quintet of riders at the front of the race, spearheaded by Julien Alaphilippe and Wout van Aert, who's trying to win the Tour of Britain right here, 12 kilometres from the finish line in Gateshead. But Hayter and Rodriguez have answered him, at this point at least. Well, all day we've been trying to think of various different permutations and things that might happen. I don't think we anticipated a group like this going clear with 12k.
Michael Woods now straight on the attack, just on the right-hand side. There we go. So, you know, Dan Martin and Michael Woods here doing a fantastic job. Know that they can't come to the line with Ethan Hayter, Alaphilippe, Wout van Aert. So going on the attack, playing a brilliant 1-2 game at the minute. 8 kilometres to go on these big roads is a long way, and with a fantastic Rodriguez chasing everything down behind, it is going to be difficult for him to stay away, but they need to try this. And Dan Martin, look, second wheel, right on the wheel.
Big attack that from Michael Woods, and MVP at the moment, Oscar Rodriguez.
Yeah, and just noticing there where Wout van Aert is right on the back, another little kicker Ren. If he was to attack, this is the perfect place to do it. Element of surprise, Ethan Hayter obviously got Rodriguez in there, but the element of surprise on Hayter being able to go past him with a couple of Ks an hour more speed could be the difference, just opening that gap up and stopping riders getting on terms. But Wood's doing a great ride at the minute here. These little kickers will help him.
Martin talking to him on the radio, encouraging him, the Canadian, just to commit to this move, because Martin's really well placed and the legs are good for Dan Martin today. And if this comes back, Dan Martin will try and counter. So Israel Startup Nation playing a blinder at the moment.
Yeah, we saw Ethan Hayter now on the back, being aware of that situation, being aware of where Wout van Aert was, being aware that he may attack. So the perfect wheel to be on, Wout van Aert. That's where he's gone. Brilliant, brilliant riding by Ethan.
Julien Alaphilippe very aware as well. The real racer in Julien Alaphilippe has been awakened in this very, very elite group. There is Ethan Hayter picking the right wheel to be on. Watch him like a hawk. Come from behind. I
think Alaphilippe may start to think about attacking. Saying that, out of a small group like this, we have seen Julien Alaphilippe win bike races before.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
And let's not also forget James Shaw, no threat to GC. If he goes on the move, people might say, you know what, I'm okay with this. But with the bonus seconds on the line, it's going to be very, very difficult for him. Wout van Aert will not let him. Ethan Hayter, I don't think, will want him to go anywhere. They want maximum bonus seconds. But
Hayter's dream result would be 3 riders sweeping up all the I mean, his dream result is to win the bike race, for sure. If that doesn't happen, then allow 3 riders to take first, second and third on the stage.
Yeah, a little bit of play now. Mikel Honoré coming to the front, shutting things down a little bit, probably thinking Alaphilippe, he can do a good sprint today.
Honoré pushing on with Rodriguez on his wheel. Rodriguez has been brilliant working for Ethan Hayter so far. Brilliant. Honoré can't get clear of the Spaniard, but he is orchestrating the chase now, trying to bring back Michael Woods. He's built up a big decent lead, but he stalls, looks round.
It's an interesting situation, is it? I think Wout van Aert is obviously confident going into the sprint up against Ethan Hayter, and he's happy to do that. But ultimately, before they get there, they need to catch this man to get maximum points.
Well, if Michael Woods goes off the front and wins this race, then Wout van Aert can't take the race lead today. There aren't enough bonus seconds, assuming that they will come to the line together without a gap.
No, but he will be closer.
He'll be much closer.
He'll be much closer.
He'll be 2 seconds off the lead.
That then is the problem.
Minimum. We'll be back after a short break. 3.4k to go. James Shaw attacks just at the moment where Michael Woods has been caught by the Movistar pair. And James Shaw from Ribble Weltites looking around, a former World Tour racer, dropping down a couple of divisions, racing at World Tour level again next year and reminding us of what he's all about. But very, very hard to get clear now. Mikkel Honoré from De Koning Quickstep tracks him down. Oh, look at that.
That was a surprise.
Right-hand side of the roundabouts. Just bumps Matteo Jorgensen onto the wheel of Oscar Rodriguez, but James Shaw has been shut down there, and it all comes back together again.
James Shaw, they're getting a bit annoyed with him, not realising that Alaphilippe's in that group and he has the possibility to go for the stage win. Honoré is not really bothered about the stage win, he's more bothered about keeping things together for Alaphilippe.
3.4k to go. This is perfect for Wout van Aert. Serrano just repositioning in the bunch a little bit. Van Aert just looking very calmly around, just seeing what's happening, just observing it all, just keeping his power to drive. If they come to the line, Van Aert would back himself in the sprint. But on his wheel, as he looks around and checks, the race leader, Ethan Hayter, is also playing a very cool game indeed.
Yeah, Van Aert there forcing the riders. You saw him just waiting, flicking the elbow. Sort of saying, you're leading this race now, take some responsibility. Ethan Hayter, if he, very hard to do, say, no, I'm leading, you do the work. But being Wout van Aert, that is it's a hard job to do.
Serrano now at the
3k
fourth wheel.
to go, they just passed under, I think, 2.8 on our clock.
Rodriguez on the front. All back together, and no one's managed to get clear. They've been punching each other repeatedly in the face, but no one's delivered the knockout blow just yet. Alaphilippe drifts over to the right-hand side of the road. That wasn't an attack. Just have a little look at where everyone is, how they're feeling, and then he just slots back in, maybe to find the wheel of Wout van Aert. Yeah, Serrano there, just finding himself a little bit close to the front and opting to drop out of the line. That's the habit now. Rodriguez is pinned to the front as well, setting a tempo for Ethan Hayter, but no one wants to be too close to the front at the moment. So the battle at the moment is for the back of the group.
Yeah, I think they know what's happening there. Serrano and the Movistar rider coming to the front now. They want to do this pacemaking to the finish. They know that it's going to come down to a bunch sprint. They know it's going to come down to the finish. So Alaphilippe tucked in Alaphilippe's wheel. Ethan Hayter right towards the front on Honoré's wheel. Serrano towards the back, Michael Woods' wheel. So everyone lining up for the sprint. Ethan Hayter just looking over his shoulder, probably checking where Wout van Aert is.
Well, 198 kilometres from Carlisle to Gateshead, and it's all come down to a keyring race.
Brilliant this. If Wout van Aert wins this stage, Ethan Hayter second, it will still bring him very, very close to him. Up another thing, and then we have to look at bonus seconds on the road tomorrow. Maybe these will start to come into play, and then that opens the race up even more.
Remember, there are 10 seconds at the line, 6 for second place, 4 for third place. At the moment, there's 8 seconds between Wout van Aert and Ethan Hayter. If Wout van Aert takes 10 seconds, Ethan Hayter has to finish seconds to hold on to the race lead.
Wout van Aert picking his lead out man's wheel. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Alaphilippe, no, he's trying to follow Wout van Aert as well. So those three riders, the top 3 riders on the general classification, coming into the finish by the looks of things. 1.5k to go.
Now, despite the fact that there are no climbs, it's just a drag to the line, the Israel Startup Nation pair of Michael Woods and Dan Martin kind of still have to do something long, don't they? Just one last throw of the dice. Look at Dan Martin there on the wheels at the back. He can't be expected to compete on any kind of level terms with the likes of Van Aert, Hayter and Alaphilippe and Serrano. Perhaps one last attempt from the Israel Startup Nation to disrupt this and avoid the seeming inevitability of a group sprint with 1.2k to go.
Yeah, very difficult as well, with ultimately 2 lead-out men for sure, almost 3 with Honoré in there as well. Very difficult to do so, to try and get any gap, but with this little rise in the road now, it can be a great place to attack, as we see the peloton by the looks of things just breathing down the necks ever so slightly, trying to bring things back.
Wonder who's riding at the front of the peloton.
1k to go.
There they are. That's Quebecer Nextash, of course it is. Giacomo Nizzolo might come back into the mix here.
Is he there, though? I'm trying to see if he is there at the minute.
No, maybe he isn't. But it's certainly that team riding.
Yeah, missed the move, so trying to bring things back as close as possible.
Dan Martin just looking for that opportunity, perhaps, to launch a long one off the back. Not presenting itself, too difficult. Rodriguez and Jorgensen on the front.
Last corner now, they come through this roundabout just ahead of them. They turn up to the left and it's just a long straight drag all the way to the finish. So, you know, for the likes of Dan Martin, the finish is hard enough. The speed isn't exactly furious at the minute, but the riders that are in there, sadly, for those two riders. They are very, very quick. Serrano on the wheel of Alaphilippe. Alaphilippe just moving up ever so slightly there, pushing up on the left-hand side.
Hayter just eased off there, just teasing. Brilliant from Hayter. Just teased, little bump there with Wout van Aert. He teased Alaphilippe onto the front though.
Yeah.
James Shaw moving up. Michael Woods on his wheel. Dan Martin just following the wheel of the Canadian, knowing that James Shaw is trying to launch a long one. It's Mikel Honoré though. Hayes just picking the gap, looks around, checks where Wout van Aert is. Wout van Aert now slots in on the wheel of the race leader. Van Aert being led out by Hayter. Will those two go clear? Here comes Hayter opening up his sprint with Van Aert alongside him. Honoré though, Alaphilippe sprinting for the line. Here comes Wout van Aert, the top three doing battle all the way to the line. Van Aert, it's inevitable. Hayter picks up second place. It was close. Will hold on to the race lead, but class will out, and what a ding-dong battle that was, and they'll take it all the way to the line in Aberdeen.
Apologies, I was laughing there. Hayter came across the line and he just looked at him and just went to say,
I mean,
what can I do? What can I do? You know, Wout van Aert, unbelievable there. Looked cool, calm and selective, and didn't come round him that quickly. It took a while to get round him, but when he did, the look on Hayter's face, it was just like, what can I do against him? He is literally one of the fastest men in the world, won on the Champs-Élysées, but still very impressive by Hayter there, and to be in the finish there with Rodriguez, second place to Wout van Aert.
Well,
still
it's not
something.
shabby, isn't it? He out-sprinted Julian Alaphilippe. He's still the leader of the race. The best three riders in the race at the head of things again. This time it was Wout van Aert taking the win over Ethan Hayter and Julian Alaphilippe. The Belgian champion taking his third stage win of this year's Tour.
I need to beat Ethan one more time in the sprint, so yeah, that's the easy way, but probably will be a lot of hurdles to take to come closer. He has a strong team. That's a big advantage for him, and yeah, we're rather down in numbers. Only 4 guys left, but anyway, strong guys. So yeah, we'll try something, but we have to discuss later on.
That means he's just 4 seconds behind the Ineos Grenadier, with Julian Alaphilippe now at 21. Ethan Hayter still in the AJ Bell Race Leaders jersey, with only Scotland and its 2 stages still to come.
To be honest, I was quite happy with second today. It was I was on the limit at one stage, and then to be like a 3-up sprint with Van Aert and Alaphilippe is pretty cool. So yeah, second's not too bad to say.
Another consistent performance means he's still the Sports Breaks point jersey leader. Jake Scott confirmed the Skoda King of the Mountains competition for 2021 on Bertree Fell.
The beginning of the stage kicked off so much. It was like, you know, the strongest were at the front, and I was counting the people who were going. In my head I was thinking there's no one there that I need to worry about, and then Rory was there. I was like, right, that's an absolutely perfect scenario. So yeah, we're still at the front keeping an eye on things, but yeah, I was kind of happy just to back off a bit today.
The Canyon DHB Sun God rider can possibly also claim the Iceberg Sprints jersey as early as stage 7.
Another day, another stage of fabulous racing here on the AJ Bell Tour of Britain. Adam Blythe, you called Van Aert, I called Alaphilippe. Ethan Hayter in the middle there, but a trio of amazing talent.
Yeah, fantastic talent, and I think that finish was kind of unexpected a little bit. We expected the same people there at the finish, but yeah, I did not expect it to be such a small group, and it just shows the British roads completely different running really to what we see on the map. So I think if that carries on throughout this tour, which I'm sure it will, we're going to be in for an exciting final.
It had everything today. Mark Cavendish in a breakaway, Ineos Grenadiers under pressure all day, Richie Porte doing massive turns on the front, and then an amazing group of talent towards the end there.
And Tim de Klerk's, he's not really in many breakaways, and Quick-Step almost played it perfectly. The start of today's race was, we've not seen a start like that this whole tour so far, and all the World Tour teams wanting to be represented in there apart from Ineos. So I think if that carries on, which I think it will, we're in for an exciting final, and a final which looks to be at the minute by Hayter and Wout van Aert.
Well, yeah, that's 3 stage wins for Van Aert, but he's not in the lead. Hayter still keeps the navy blue AJ Bell jersey on his shoulders, with England done, Wales done, Scotland tomorrow.
The first chance of points on stage 7 comes at the Cat 3 climb of Berry Bush. 20 k's later, there's the first sprint at Innerleithen. The course then continues to undulate with the ascent of Stowe Hill, followed by 2 sprints at Lauder and at Duns. One side rig is the final designated Skoda King of the Mountain climb on stage 7. The peloton still then has 50 k's to go before the finish in Holyrood Park.
Adam, first stage finish on the Tour of Britain in Edinburgh. We've got Aberdeen, the finale the day after. What can we expect?
Similar today, I think. I think the two riders, Ethan Hayter, Wout van Aert, they're very similar. Wout van Aert seems to have the edge at the minute, but I think similar. Maybe a small group going to the finish again, but it's going to be an exciting final. It's one that I'm looking forward to just because of those bonus seconds on the line.
Adam, thanks very much indeed. As you can see, the rain's starting to come down now here at the Angel of the North. That could play its part too as we head into Scotland for the final 2 days of racing. Live coverage tomorrow on ITV4, 10:30 in the morning of Hawick to Edinburgh. Join us if you can. For now, bye-bye.